Carlos Sainz is on a revenge tour. In the first race of the season, the Spaniard put on a display of incredibly thrilling racing, showing Vasseur and the rest of Ferrari what they'll be missing out on and leaving them wondering if Charles Leclerc was the right choice. Let's have a look at how the smooth operator stole the Bahrain Grand Prix spotlight in today's video. Don't go anywhere. Max Verstappen kicked off his title defense in style, leading the pack from pole position to a commanding victory with a 22.4-second gap over his teammate Sergio Perez. He also snagged an extra point for the fastest lap of the race. Sainz secured the final podium spot, finishing 2.5 seconds behind. The Spaniard made two successful passes on his struggling teammate Charles Leclerc at turn 1. He's pushing hard to secure the best possible drive for 2025, especially with Lewis Hamilton set to join Ferrari, creating a highly competitive field. Sainz managed to keep up with Perez, who started in 5th position throughout the latter part of the race, despite being on the harder C1 Pirelli tyres, which are theoretically slower. Not only that, he had to contend with misaligned steering due to a collision with Perez at turn 1. Sainz thought it was a pleasant surprise that he was able to keep the reigning Constructors' champion on their toes throughout the 57-lap Grand Prix. He said, "I felt really good out there today. The start wasn't ideal, but from then on, I just managed my tyres well, and then from there I could do my pace, overtook 2 or 3 cars on the way to the podium, and then keeping up with a Red Bull there at the end, which was a pleasant surprise. Still, not enough. Not where we want to be. But a good step forward compared to last year and a solid start to the season." Perez suggested that Sainz got a bit of assistance, noting that the Red Bull driver had to deal with excessive sliding across different tyre compounds along with an engine braking problem. On the other hand, Sainz felt that his Ferrari SF24 performed well on the hard tyres as he was able to maintain control over the temperatures. He elaborated, saying, "We had a very clear plan using the soft compound and then 2 hards. With the hard in our car, we feel a bit more comfortable because it overheats less, it degrades less. It is a bit of a trickier tyre with warm-up and with front locking. But then once we get it working in our car, you can push on it. In the Red Bull, you can see different traits, different strategy choices. But I think also that's the beauty of F1. We could play around a bit with strategy today." Sainz delivered a stellar performance voted by fans as the driver of the day, securing 3rd place in Bahrain. He made 2 successful overtakes on his teammate Charles Leclerc en route to this achievement, expressing his satisfaction in returning to racing in a style that suits him best. Given the challenges posed by last year's Ferrari, particularly its tyre wear issues, Sainz revealed that his race strategies frequently centred on carefully managing his stints and sometimes defending his position following qualifying. Sainz's performance on Saturday during the first race since it was announced he would be leaving Ferrari at the end of the season, with Lewis Hamilton slated to join in 2025, served as a timely reminder of his skills and capabilities. Securing a podium finish behind the Red Bull duo of Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez on Saturday, Sainz disclosed that the last time he felt at ease attacking other cars without being overly concerned about tyre wear was in the middle of last season. He told the media, "Yeah, it's actually a bit of a relief because I remember last year, the last race where I was attacking was Austria, and we're talking about 13-14 races ago. Then the rest of the races last year, you just had to manage, you just had to look in the mirrors, you just had to control your pace, and there were very little opportunities to go and overtake people. I love going racing, and I love going overtaking, being aggressive, attacking, and with last year's car it was simply impossible to do that. As soon as we were in dirty air, as soon as we overheated the tyres, as soon as we pushed a bit too much, it was game over. And this year we come to the most rear-limited track of the season, the highest degradation, and do our overtaking, attacking race. For me it's a relief, and it gives me a feeling that we will be able to do this more often this year. Doesn't mean we will do it every race at all, because I still think one of our strongest parts of our car is qualifying, so I think we will still qualify maybe ahead of what maybe our true position is, but at least we're not degrading and defending like crazy like we were doing last year." In an intense battle on lap 11, the Spaniard aggressively manoeuvred his way into 4th place, only to repeat the feat on lap 17, passing his teammate Charles Leclerc once more after finding himself trailing following a pit stop. Sainz spoke some more about this incident, saying, "It never felt close inside the car. Whenever I do an overtake on my teammate, I will always try and leave as much margin as possible. I try and do it whenever I feel like I'm fully under control and I'm not putting any car at risk. Going head-to-head on the track, possibly getting a bit too close for Ferrari's comfort, Ralf Schumacher remarks that one can sense a shift in the dynamic between the Ferrari teammates. The German told Sky Deutschland, "You can tell that the two of them are no longer so familiar with each other. It was the first race. Perhaps the team should have told Charles at that moment that he was having problems anyway with the tyres and should let his teammate through. Today, Carlos Sainz was faster, but I think Charles's car wasn't quite okay. Despite the intensity of Sainz's manoeuvres, his team boss Fred Vasseur expressed approval. While acknowledging that Ferrari anticipated some heated moments this season, he stressed that Sainz's conduct was within professional bounds and praised him for his performance in the race. Honestly, I was convinced that he would have this kind of reaction. It's also why we decided to get it out early, turn the page and focus on the season. And the reaction of Carlos was not unprofessional. Today he did a very good job. Vasseur believes that Ferrari has made progress in narrowing the gap to Red Bull, yet he acknowledges that the gap is still huge. This is also a mixed feeling, he said. 1 year ago, I think in the race we were at 8-9 tenths. Perhaps today we did 50% of the gap. But again, we are not there to be at 4 tenths. But if you compare with last year, and the recovery that we had during the season, the fact that we are able to fight with them in the last part, I think we have a good opportunity. It's also a much better base to develop this year. I think the car is much easier for them to feel the car from where we are weak and where we can improve. Last year it was much more difficult to have a good read on the car. If Ferrari had any expectations that Carlos Sainz would fade into obscurity without a fuss, the initial laps in Bahrain quickly dispelled that notion. Throughout the pre-season, the Spaniard maintained a polished professionalism, skillfully handling numerous inquiries while ensuring not to upset his current team. However, when it came to racing on track, he showed a different side altogether. Whether it was a strategic decision by Sainz or a spontaneous action once the visor came down, the soon-to-be former Ferrari driver showed no mercy under the Bahraini lights. While in previous years Sainz had resigned himself to his requests to pass teammate Charles Leclerc being disregarded, in Sakhir, he didn't hesitate to take matters into his own hands. After his suggestion that he had more pace was brushed aside by race engineer Riccardo Adami, Sainz decided to take matters into his own hands. Seizing the opportunity as Leclerc battled with grip issues, Sainz executed a bold move into Turn 1, a maneuver not typically expected between teammates. Ferrari tried to help Leclerc by bringing him into the pits first, capitalizing on the potent undercut strategy. But even this tactical move didn't faze Sainz. He quickly regained his position at the front and managed to overtake George Russell, securing a spot on the podium. It was a scenario that deviated from the expected narrative. While Leclerc is viewed as the future of Ferrari, Sainz finds himself replaced by a driver 15 years his senior. Despite this, the combined points of the 2025 Ferrari drivers amounted to just 18, with Sainz alone scoring only 3 points less. With Max Verstappen's path to another title appearing increasingly probable, the simmering tension at Ferrari emerges as a significant storyline of the season, particularly if Bahrain serves as a preview of what's to come. Historically, Leclerc and Sainz have been regarded as among the friendlier pairs of teammates on the grid. However, the inaugural race of the season hints that their relationship will face considerable strain moving forward. Now, Fred Vasseur faces a new challenge. The Frenchman hasn't been shy about expressing admiration for Hamilton, but such overt affection may have impacted Sainz. Ahead of the race, the Ferrari team principal stated that his primary goal for the first year was to boost morale. However, the objectives for the second season resemble those faced by Toto Wolff in 2016. While tensions may be relatively low at race 1 with numerous opportunities ahead, as the Grand Prix events unfold, anticipate sparks flying within the Ferrari team. With the first race of the season out of the way, what do you expect to see from Ferrari's driver pairing going forward? Is this an isolated incident, a necessity brought about by Charles Leclerc's faulty car? Or does this set the tone for Carlos Sainz's approach to racing for a spot in Formula 1? Tell us what you think in the comment section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching.